Hello and welcome back to Drippy Drez's podcast. Today I am going to finally talk about the different listening filters. Some of you probably think that this should have been included with my last audio, while others probably think that it's better I have them as two separate audios. That way people on the holidays only have to listen to a couple minutes worth of audio, and then during any other weekend, they can listen to longer audio clips. So for today, you know what? I'm gonna say that tomorrow by midnight Pacific time, or no, okay, midnight, the morning of December 8th Pacific time, I'm going to read the comments, and if more people commented that they wish that last week's audio and today's audio were two separate audios, then from now on the holidays or around the holidays, I'm going to release an audio that's only a couple minutes, and then, the next week I'm going to release a full-length audio. If more people comment that they would like to see full-length audios released around the holidays, then I will even combine this week's audio with last week's, release that as a full audio, and then from now on I'm just gonna release full audios around the holidays. So if you want short audios around the holidays, or if you want longer ones, please make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. Or even if you want me to combine the two, like this week's and last week's, but then from now on only release short audios around the holidays, then I can do that as well. But without further ado, let's get started with today's topic. So active listening is like where you pay attention to what the speaker is saying, as well as the context, which could include, like when they're saying it, or maybe the place, but as well as like facial expressions, eye contact, body language, tone maybe, or just how they're saying it in general. Like, active listening is basically where you take in every factor, like, for what it means to listen. And believe it or not, active listening isn't quite as common as what you would think. Evaluative listening is your critical listening filter. And I know a lot of you are like, wait, I'm an active listener, but I also do think critically sometimes when I listen. Does that mean I have two different listening filters? No, because just like with your communication style, everyone has different listening filters, like in their brain, but it's like which ones you use the most of that kind of determine what kind of listener you really are. And evaluative listening does get criticized a little bit more than what it should, because you would be surprised at how useful it really is. And if what you're saying is really right or accurate, or however you want to put it, then that means it shouldn't matter if the person is evaluatively listening or not, because if what you're saying is right, then there's no reason for them to prove you wrong. And if they're going to prove you wrong despite, you saying what's accurate, then that's a problem on your listener's side and not a problem on your side. Discriminative listening is basically like where you pay attention to everything other than words. Like, let's say somebody says that they like pineapple, but like instead of paying attention to the fact that they said they like pineapple, you pay attention to the way they said it, plus maybe if they were making eye contact or not, plus whether or not this was before or after they even tried pineapple. And discriminative listening is probably like one of the best listening filters you can use, but despite the popular saying, actions speak louder than words, you'd be surprised at how much closer it actually is to the bottom. And it's not that there aren't people who wouldn't want to be discriminative listeners. It's just that some people, they naturally think to use more active listening or evaluative listening, or maybe even one of the other listening filters. And the next three are like very closely related, and the next three are comprehensive listening, empathetic listening, and sympathetic listening. Comprehensive is very dismissive, and it's a little bit hard to describe. Comprehensive listening is basically like active listening plus empathy. Like, comprehensive listening is where you pay attention to everything, like words, facial expressions, eye contact, sounds, body language, context, everything, but you're also paying attention to what the speaker is trying to communicate. No, active listeners don't really do that. They pay attention to everything and like how they interpret it, whereas comprehensive is that plus what they're trying to communicate. And a lot of you would be surprised about how many people are actually comprehensive listeners. Well, how many people actually take the time to observe everything, but still just like focus on what you're trying to say as well. And believe it or not, empathetic is when you like feel what the other person is trying to say plus actually think about what they're saying, whereas sympathetic is where you look at what someone is saying through an emotional point of view but no logic. And I was surprised when I read this, because usually sympathy is defined as feeling sorry for someone, and then empathetic is actually feeling their pain. And I think the reason that it's different with the listening filters is because whoever came up with this wanted to encourage empathy rather than sympathy. And I think the person also wanted to encourage the mindset that if you say like you feel, the other person's emotions and you understand where they're coming from, but you don't actually think about whether or not that person is thinking logically or if they genuinely feel that way, then like you're not really feeling their emotions. And I think that's a very good point, because a lot of problems do stem from toxic empathy. And I think, that's because most people, they want to be kind, they want to be compassionate, and they want to be empathetic. And promoting the idea that you're not really being empathetic when you don't think about what the other person is saying is a great way to help solve problems, and I hope that this audio brings that message to light. So, informational is pretty much the listening filter that's the most useful for school, but you would be surprised about how many kids actually use more empathy when they listen to their teachers. But informational is where you pay close attention to what the speaker is saying, and like where you focus on learning about the information presented, pretty much. Like, not necessarily through an emotional point of view, but just like information at hand, like objectively. And you would be surprised about how it can be used outside of the classroom too. Like if you're having like a regular conversation with someone and like you're not empathizing, but like you're just paying attention to what they're saying. So like, I guess informational listening is basically just logical. Like you're paying attention to what they're saying, you're evaluating the ideas and concepts and whatever else. You're not going to evaluate or critique the information. You're just listening. You're just focusing on getting a better understanding and gaining knowledge of the topic. And then marginal is basically like where you're hardly listening, like you're pretty much a non-listener. And then non-listening is just non-listening. Well, I hope that you all enjoyed today's audio, and I hope that I've provided you with some very useful insights that you're going to use for the rest of your life. Thank you all so much for listening. I will not be posting a YouTube video this Sunday because I'm actually going to do a lot more work so that I can start posting high quality videos, but I have a busy weekend with finals because one of my finals is actually on Saturday. And I do have finals next week that I want to study for, and if I already knew how to make high quality videos, then I would have no problem releasing a video on Sunday, but with me trying to figure that out, plus studying, plus I have a birthday party that I'm gonna go to for a couple hours, so it's just not a good weekend for me to post a video. I'm probably gonna do a short because I feel like there are still people that only watch my YouTube videos but don't actually listen to my audios. But that short, obviously, it's just gonna be me announcing that there are no videos this weekend, but I am like a smidge closer to finally uploading my first high quality video. And then next week Friday I'm still releasing another audio. Tomorrow I'm still releasing my 2 songs. Thank you all so much for listening. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and I can't wait to read all the comments and the comment section below, and I will talk to you next week Friday.